something for this.
Yeah.
Or one of those selfie sticks or something.
Yeah. I have been looking at something, I need something where I don't have to go up and click a button. You tap it, when it's blue, it's on.
Okay.
I'm not staying on.
They haven't for like ever since I.
Weird. Mine stays on.
I think everyone speaks loud enough.
So something in connection with your guys is your stand? Huh. I'll have to have Bruce, my expert,
You have to
IT
just
guy.
hold it, just keep our finger on it.
Or hit on the side, hit lock.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the lock. button.
Yep.
Oh, now we're hot, okay.
Okay.
The lock button, slide it toward. Okay. Quite a few. Well, with that being said, now that we are live and mic'd up, I will call the meeting to order Tuesday, June 27, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Roll call, all council members are present, along with Chief Borish is here and Darcy. So, with that being said, agenda item number 3, police officer position. We are here to discuss both the position and the squad car as a result of our last city council meeting where we thought this was the best venue and approach. We had lots of questions that needed answers and an opportunity for community to speak. Thank you for those of you that are here. With that being said, I will open it up for a discussion on the police officer position.
I have some notes here, and I texted Jason a couple of questions yesterday. Thank you for responding. I was just wondering if in the past, if anyone has contracted, if discussion was ever brought forward contracting with Morrison County, or do you feel that's not the best avenue for Motley?
I don't know of any past discussions for Motley contract with the county.
Out of curiosity, I'm curious to know, is as a council, do we still want to have 2 officers, whether it's contracted or not? Do we want to own both? Do we want to contract a second? Is that where we need to start this? I mean, that's kind of why we're here. Do we want to be 1 or 2?
I want to know Jason's opinion on that. I think that's important.
Well, my opinion is that we need to backfill the opening that Officer Holtz left with another Motley police
If you
officer.
wanna sign it in there,
I think that's the best way to serve our citizens in Motley, is to have our own police officers and our own police department versus contracting with the county. We're gonna be able to provide the best service and availability to them by having our own department versus going through the sheriff's office.
And do you think a full-time would be more of a benefit, or are you talking
Absolutely.
part-time?
Personally, if it was up to me, I'd like to hire 2 full-timers because we have the call volume and we could really use the extra help around here. But that's never been an option at this point. So I would, at minimum, think that we need to fill the 1 full-time position at this time.
Sorry, I just turned this off.
I see Morrison County's here, thank you. Are you in a position capacity-wise, if we were to need to contract, is that something even the county can support at this time with you guys?
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm here. No, we are not interested in contracting. I don't know how we could even do justice to Motley to contract. It wouldn't even, I mean, the sheriff asked me to come to speak on that. At this point, it's not even really an option. You know, as just seeing the call volume in the city of Motley and the traffic that goes through here, we could not do you justice for what you have right now. I don't think you'd be happy with the service of the ability of us to contract at this point.
I think one of the things that I've noticed in the last 30 days, you mentioned call volume. We're still a seasonal intersection. in 4 different ways. And it's ironic that this morning you're out on one of the biggest things that you deal with, which is a traffic accident incident. And I've come to learn from talking to people who have been waiting for bricks for their flatbeds, for their tow trucks, the appreciation of the detail needed by this department for their own insurances, liabilities, what happened in that accident. It's incredibly time consuming. So there's a different awareness on my end that it's not all law enforcement and crime and justice with you guys. It's a big, people aren't pulling small rigs. They're not pulling small vehicles into bricks and into Holiday and into our businesses. They're pulling their investments, and there's an expectation when bad things happen that's going to be dealt with. And they're not, and I've come to learn the time frame in that is long. I mean, it occupies you guys' time. So, well, we got a no from Morrison County, so that means it's back on the city. No, I appreciate the candid truth. I mean, it's not an option, it's not an option. So, as a city, are we moving forward with 2 officers?
Can I ask a question? Why is this even a question? Why would we not?
Why would we what?
Why would we not have at least 2 officers here? Or replace the one that left?
And I've got some follow-ups with the newspaper articles, the amount of drugs going up, the concern of the sheriff's department as far as the marijuana being regulated. The amount of overdoses are up from people the age of 19 to 58 years of age are dying of overdose. The domestic abuse is up, suicide is up. They're trying to go with outreach programs to incorporate the schools because they're very concerned. 34% over the past 10 years. It's right there. My biggest concern, living in this area, this is not Mayberry. There is a lot of times where there's no police involvement where they can't be seen. You know, what is your response time?
Oh, that's hard to answer too, because you are in a unique location. I mean, you are a long ways from our hub. You know, chances, I mean, it's all depending on where people are at the time. So
Even just the hit and runs we had in the parking lot, 45 minutes to 2 hours to get a sheriff because there's no Motley police. The traffic going through on weekends, and here's another one, major 911 calls are Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Half of the time we don't have police enforcement on a Saturday because you can't support it. That is the #1 time for 911 calls. It's fact. It's all right here. Here's another issue I had with the meetings, and I tried not to get involved. Most people do not read anything but the Staples World. Where was this put out to the public for the people actually here, the common people like me, knew we were going to try to defund the police? Second thing, if the police department has a budget and they say my budget is X amount of dollars and my X amount of dollars can fund a police car, if it's their budget and they can prove it and we need it, then why is it an issue on why we don't have a new police car? Jason, do we have money in the budget for a police car? Yes or no?
Yes, currently I have money.
Okay.
Funds for it.
It's a black and white. Do we have money? Yes. Do you run the budget? Do you control it and watch it and do all that?
With permission of the council on large purchases.
Okay, so large purchases, we have money for a police car. Why don't we have a second police car? We're down to one police. Pillager has 2. Pillager wants another police officer, but they can't because the city won't pay. Staples has police. New York Mills has police. Eagle Bend has police. Browerville has police. You want to take our police force away from Motley? We need more police. We need to support them.
I have
It's
a
like-
question, Tom,
Sure.
when you're done. When you said defund the police, was that?
My idea of
printed
defunding, when you
somewhere?
start talking, when the community starts talking about hiring out contracts instead of getting our own police force, we're defunding our town, we're defunding our police, we're defunding our own perfect personal safety. It's like saying, how many fire trucks do we have? Okay, why do we have that many? Why? Because we might need them. Why do you have insurance? You pay ungodly amounts of premiums for insurance. Why? You might need them. Why do we have a police? We might need them. And if I need it, or my family needs it, or this community needs it, I want a police force. I don't want to wait 45 minutes for somebody else to respond. You got the facts. You know, it's all in here. Marijuana is legal. Now they're really worried about how are we going to do the drug enforcement, the DUIs, how are we going to handle the increase that they're already planning on seeing, and this comes from the sheriff. How are we going to handle that if we don't even have our own police? Yes, we're seasonal. We bring all kinds of money in seasonal. Don't you think the people who come here and support this town seasonal deserve to know that they're protected, that their homes are protected on the lake, that we can actually call up and get a police officer? This should never have come to council, and it should have been put out in the Staples world where people can actually see this was on the board. The only reason why I know about it because somebody else said, hey, you know, they're wanting to see if we're going to get another police officer from Motley, if we're going to hire somebody, or if we're going to contract out and get a car. I was like, no, were you kidding me? I have a major project going on at Maury's or Rich's. Okay, I have to be there. I have all kinds of people and vendors going on. I left specifically to come here to state my opinion, whether it's heard or not, that this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. We need the police force, and I guess I'm going to be done right there. But I'll take any questions if you have.
I want to go back to the original question of why are we here, why are we discussing this? I'll be transparent. I think I've been pretty vocal about increasing wages, supporting our police department. I'm all for the second squad car. It's not about that. Because I do believe that the urgency is, it's now, it's needed, and it's their emergency services. We are here this morning because as a council, we couldn't come to a resolution at our meeting, and we were stalemated. So this is the process. In no way do I support having one officer on the squad. I've been vocal all the way through.
I'm very happy to hear that, and anybody I talk to, I'll make sure I tell them.
We are here as a functionality, as a council, that we couldn't come to an agreement and understanding at our city council meeting after a work session. So this was the process, and I'm the one that specifically said, when do we talk about it before the next council meeting? Because that man needs to know if we're hiring a second officer and when. It's a process. It is not a short one, it is a long one. Squad cars are 9 to 10 months, 11 months out. I think if you go back through the very papers you referenced, I'm not shy about this and my stand on wages and law enforcement in our community, and that we are as city as we are seasonal. And that's why I referenced the accidents, the people coming and going.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
In a previous meeting where we did move to order the squad car, that was, can we explain why it's back on the table with the grant? And
Yeah, the grant fell through.
Yeah.
But if there's money in it, I deal with grants too, and we have money budgeted. And if I have the money budgeted and I can't get a grant, guess what? I use the money budgeted. And if there's money left over and he can maintain it and we can still support, then you do it and you go on.
Yeah, and one of my questions, and I don't know if we're moving on to the squad car, or we're going to stay on the police officer position, but
We're still on
gonna.
the officer
Okay,
position.
all right, then I'll wait on that.
Yeah.
Well, and I can answer your question about the posting. The posting is posted on our boards. That's what we're required to do. And then I put it on the website. Staples World wasn't interested in being our official newspapers.
Who is our official newspaper that we don't get?
The Morrison County Record. 'Cause
Hey,
everybody
I don't get the Morrison County Record, and I can't think of a handful of people that I deal with
You
yet.
can request it, it's free.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
sign you
why.
up before you leave now. You get a free paper in the mailbox.
But-
Even I didn't know, and
Yeah, what I'm saying, it's kind of ridiculous when everybody knows most of the people in this area, they go pick up the Staples World. So if somebody's gonna come up with something that important,
Yep.
that no one decided to say, hey, Staples World, you want to throw in a little blip for us saying, we are discussing Motley Police, Motley this, something that's very important to the community?
It was in last week's paper about this meeting.
But in Staples World? Then that's my bad, I missed it.
So Tom, just to be I also want to police, law enforcement, emergency, there's topics that are hot. If we were discussing apples or oranges, I would have asked for this meeting. So I don't want to be hung up on just law enforcement, do we, don't we, squad car. We weren't functioning as a group. We couldn't get answers, we couldn't get dialogue. So we can, and I suggested, and here we are.
Perfect.
Whether it were apples, oranges, fruit trees, or banana trees. That's why we're here today, so we can come together as a council to make some decisions, move forward for the betterment of the city and the guests that we serve.
See, what scares me, if you read on all the towns and all the political adventures that are taking place, I don't care what your political reference is, but the people who were voted in to take care of any type of government or town has to realize that you have to put your own personal beliefs at times to the side and do what's best of the community. I have strong beliefs on certain things that I would like to see. It would benefit a small party. You got to look at the big clan. You have to be more open-minded. And I'm sorry, I feel that, listen to what you just said about can't get over this or can't decide it. I feel there's something wrong with the people that we voted in if they can't vote or see it in themselves to vote to help the community and worry about a couple dollars. Safety comes first. So your police department, your fire department, your public health people need to be involved. We need to do whatever we can as a community to support all these individuals. You need it.
Thank you. So I'm going to go back to the council. Are we in favor of supporting our 2 already budgeted officer positions?
I say absolutely. I have no reservations that we need another full-time officer. What I wanted, and I'm so happy the public's here, I would have liked more people to come up, but, you know, more voice, more community. I would have liked to have seen a survey. I would like more opinions, but.
On 1 versus 2?
On 1 versus 2.
Why?
You mean,
Why?
What are you
What's your
talking about?
hesitation?
the survey?
No, I'm curious, I need you to explain.
No, I just
You
wanna
Well, I'm
know-
just trying to figure out why.
I
Like,
want-
why
I
do
wanna
you not
know-
think we
Because
need
we're
to?
voted in by the people and I want more opinions on it. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, Amy.
Well, you're representing
We already
this
have it.
town. We already have it. If it's budgeted, why would
Right.
you hesitate to do it?
And I'm not hesitating. I have more
Then vote-
questions.
Then
Also,
vote yes today and let's be done with it.
I have more questions before I'm comfortable voting. I want to make an educated decision because that's why it was
But
put on
between your
here.
last meeting and this meeting, you're out and about in the city. Like, you're wasting people's time if you can't make a decision on this
Exactly.
stuff when we're coming together. I'm here out of work. Everyone here is out of work.
So my
Between your
question-
last city council meeting and this, how long have you had to go out in the community, which you're in,
Mhm.
and ask people these questions? And have you heard from anyone that they're hesitant
Yep.
to bring in two
I
officers
have.
that are budgeted?
I have actually, yes. But
Okay,
I
so
have
make a
one question.
decision.
I have a question for Jason before I make a decision.
Just
Okay?
ask it.
So you have the money budgeted, but this is going from, again, for the police department, my question is on the squad car. So I'm in favor of hiring a full-time police officer,
Okay.
okay? The reason we're here is because sometimes it's brought to our attention, we have to make a quick decision, and we have to have more discussion, Amy.
That's fine, but I'm saying between
How
your
many times
last
do we have to
meeting
decide it?
and this meeting,
This has
you're
been going on
voted
for months.
you're voted in to make decisions.
When did Cody put in his resignation?
A couple days before I presented it to the council.
So that was,
So we
Month
have to
ago,
schedule
they
a
had
meeting,
3
put it out
weeks.
for the public, correct? Am I wrong in saying that? I mean, we could have had a special meeting immediately after, but this
But
is
it's a
what we're.
position that currently exists, and it would take a whole other set of actions to dissolve that position.
Right,
We're here because the dialogue came backwards out of, oh, if we're only gonna have one officer, we don't need 2 squad cars. Well, that's why we're sitting here. We're back, a car is,
Is irrelevant.
and we can move on the
Well, it's
floor,
on the
that
agenda.
clarifies, but
Right, but
this city budgets and has 2 officers.
So why would anybody get rid of them?
And we're here because chicken or the egg, all of a sudden one became representative of the other. We could not have functional dialogue at the last council meeting. There were lots of questions that needed answers. And if we're gonna reduce a position, that's a whole other set of check boxes that we have to go through. That's why we're here today. If we agree we want 2 officers, we move on to the squad car.
Well, they just said you can't contract it out. They can't give you the support you need. They can't do us any type of justice as far as them handling any calls. And everything is going up, and it's in writing, crime, everything's going up. And yet we're still here talking about whether we're gonna keep a police officer that's budgeted. It's ridiculous.
And we spent 20 minutes talking about it.
We're
Yeah,
but we're talking about hiring a full-time officer.
Yes, you should hire, it's in the budget, do it.
Yes, but that's why we're here.
Right,
That's- we
so-
have
So
to
say
have
yes.
discussion.
So let's vote.
Let's vote.
That's so funny. Confused.
How many people in the council need to vote on to say if there's a police officer or not?
I already stated my opinion. I'm in favor of a full-time officer. I wanted to back it up with a couple questions which Jason answered, and
Okay, so everybody seems like they're saying you're in favor of 2 full-time position police officers. Is that what I'm getting?
Darcy, clarifying question for the purpose of order of the meeting. Can we have a formal vote here?
Mhm.
We can, okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna make a motion that the city of Motley retain their 2 full-time law enforcement positions. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, we will have 2 officers moving
Who was your
forward.
second?
That was.
Thank you very much.
You were? Okay.
Mike, Pat, all in favor? Yes.
Okay.
Squad car discussion, number 4.
Before you move on though,
Hiring
if
committee.
you want us to move forward with hiring, you know, what you want us, you know, post the job right away?
Yes.
You know,
Set up a hiring committee
Yeah, we
and
need
what
to
we're
do
gonna
that.
post for wages for this officer.
Well, wages are as they are printed. They are as they're represented. And that process would have to go before the council to see an increase in that position. So right now we have to post as we
post
have
it
it.
for the step medium work
Yep.
or minimum work they are. And then,
Yep.
yeah, we'd probably want to set up a hiring committee.
Yeah. I just wanna make it aware to the council so that you have time to think before the next council meeting and research this. But I can tell you right now, us starting a police officer at $21 an hour is not gonna fly. We are not gonna get applications. And if we do get an application by chance, they're not gonna be a hireable candidate. It's very expensive to hire an officer. We're looking at around $20,000 from the time we post that position to the time that officer's done with FTO training to get them up and running so that they can work independently in the city. A lot of that's gonna come from the hiring process, doing psychological exams, doing background checks. We have to outsource our backgrounding now, and I don't know how many thousands of dollars that's gonna cost. That's come down from the Minnesota Post Board, it's a state law, I can no longer do the background checking. We have to outsource this. I've checked with surrounding counties and agencies, nobody does this for other agencies. We're gonna have to find an independent place, probably down in the Twin Cities, that's gonna charge mega dollars. And we're gonna hire somebody for $21 an hour. If they are hireable, they're gonna stick around for 6 months until they find a better job because they're paying $30 an hour next door.
Where's next door?
Little Falls just had a position open. The starting wage was $32 an hour. I believe Morrison County starts at a little over 27. Baxter PD is paying 29 or $30 an hour to start. They just had a position opening. It's all over. Yesterday on the Minnesota Post Board website, under the jobs opportunities, there's 165 agencies looking for officers. 165 agencies. That's not counting positions. A lot of these agencies have multiple positions. We are not gonna fill them with the 60 candidates that graduated from college. When I spoke with Little Falls PD, They sent 2 officers over to the job fair at Alexandria Tech, trying to recruit new people coming out of school. Every one of those recruits out of the college already had a job offer that they were guaranteed, and for more money than what Little Falls was offering. And they're offering $32 an hour. So,
Thank
I'm
you,
putting
Chief.
it out there.
The council has had the discussion about trying to increase the varying wages. I think the November, December minutes will show that. And again, we find ourselves back in where we want to go with this. I don't disagree with you. It is, but for now, we have what we have in policy, and that's what we have to go with for the posting.
correct. My fear is that this is gonna be a perpetual posting, and we're gonna have this posting for 2 years, and this is more work than one person can handle. I cannot do the chief duties and patrol the city and provide the coverage that the citizens of this town need and deserve.
And it sounds like Tom said, we need maybe someone to cover at least every other weekend or some weekend coverage maybe to better serve.
Absolutely. When Officer Holtz was here, he worked every other weekend. So we had coverage every other weekend. We had coverage at nights. I provided coverage during the days. We need that. But if we're not able to hire somebody because of low wages, I can't cover it all.
I mean, I'd expected to, but the city council, since the city council voted, said there's 2 police officers. Now, what the city council has to do in good faith, they need to get together, they need to do the research. They really need to see what it costs to get a police officer in here and what the wages are. And it's your job to support the community, to figure out how you're gonna do it, or where you have to take money from. The fire department just got a $21,000 check on the levies. There is money coming in. We're gonna have to find a way. I mean, the tax base that I pay just for my house warrants another police officer.
We also have to keep the officer we have.
Oh, damn Skippy.
So that I'm assuming is a big issue.
Correct.
So.
Turnover,
the only one
I
we have
have,
left, we're even more trouble.
I have said not only here, but in my other line of work, turnover costs money.
Mhm.
So we are, as a council, I have advocated for an increase in wages, and I don't like using I, but I came in here with some things that I felt needed to improve. And one of it was our salary and our hourlies, our wages. And again, we could not come to that conclusion. So here we sit with the new reality of $21 and change we're gonna get what we pay for, if anyone at all. So we aren't done as a council having discussions about wages. But for now, for the purpose of transparency, we have what we have in place. We need to post, we need to get the vacancy out there. And the reality is, like Chief said, there's over 160 vacancies. So we're not special and we're not unique in this. Others are looking as well. But if we're not competitive, we're not even in the race.
So can I ask a clarifying question? Do we know specifically why Cody left? Was it wage?
Yes.
Okay, and did we do anything to try and retain him? Council, I'm asking the council, did we do anything to try and retain our officer?
I wasn't here at the last meeting. I was out on a business meeting, so I wasn't here for the resignation reading.
I'll take that as a no with no answer.
I would say from October to December, if you reference back in the minutes, wages were discussed at all 3 meetings. And there was other than the scheduled cost of living percentages, there were no additional increases that were agreed upon by the council.
So what's the hang up on that then? I mean, where's the disagreement between the council?
Yeah, why are we?
I guess I'm confused.
If we're seeing
If it's every meeting, nothing changes.
I think what Motley needs, and we haven't done it, we should have an exit interview. I think that's extremely important because it's very easy just to write something, you know.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious why you left. I don't think you need an interview for
If you have an
that.
exit interview, you hopefully can find out why people left. And I mean, it's across the board for everybody, McDonald's, everybody. Nobody can hire anybody.
Yeah, but when we
Nobody
have
wants to
good
work.
people that are working and we let them go, knowing how hard it is, what are we doing? And I'm asking again, what are we doing to try and retain them? And I'm not saying if they come in with something crazy, we should just bend over and do what everyone's asking, by no means. But are we doing anything to try and retain the people that we have here that are employed? I mean, again, you guys are elected, you're here, that's what your guys' job is.
Right?
So what are you guys doing to keep our streets safe, our businesses safe? I mean, we're a taxpayer, but we don't necessarily get to vote on certain things because we don't live in the city. Okay, so I have a business in town. I need people, I need officers to make sure that it stays safe. We've been broken into and we get quick response. You take that away, we're not gonna get it. So I'm asking, what have you guys done or are you doing as elected officials to help keep our business safe? And if we know they're leaving because of wages, what is the hesitation?
We do not know they're leaving because of wages.
We don't.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody
That's
knows
why I
that.
thought an exit interview would be good.
Excuse me. So, as the supervisor for Officer Holtz, him and I had very open dialogue throughout his entire tenure here. When he handed me his resignation, he did inform me, and you can absolutely give him a call and verify with him if you don't believe me. But he did tell me the reason he left, it's because of money and benefits. He was gonna make more money at another agency, and he's also getting a take-home squad car, which is another benefit because it costs him less money to drive to work then. He had openly told me, and I discussed this with the council last fall, that if he received a raise, he was willing to say, yes, I will stay here for X amount of years, and I won't even look for another job.
Jason, how much was the raise?
Approximately $6,000 a year.
So $6,000 a year, and now we're waiting on spending thousands of dollars for a new interview and everything, where you couldn't give somebody $6 an hour? That's
gonna cost the city now $20,000.
that is insane. That is deplorable.
You guys, that's disappointing.
I tell you what, I'm going to work. This is disgusting. $6 an hour?
I would caution
Oh,
that,
God.
do some more reading and figure out who it is you need to talk to.
I don't need to talk to anybody. See, I can't make the decisions. You people have to make
I
decisions.
don't disagree, I'm just asking you to read
All
up,
I'm asking
read
is-
up on who you need to
Okay.
talk to.
All I'm asking is you guys make a conscious decision, but if we actually lost a police officer for $4 or $6 an hour, and he was deemed a decent officer, what it's gonna cost for you guys to replace him in the time lapse in between, that dog doesn't hunt. So I hope you guys find a way to reconcile. Do your job that you're elected for. Make a conscious decision with time. You can't keep on dragging out the same thing over and over again.
I would
And
like to
we're
point
not, and we're
out,
not getting anywhere with this talk. So I gotta get back to work, and I wish you the best of luck.
I would like to point out, we did do a
Wage
wage
study.
study, so
Yeah.
we did make sure we were looking at other cities.
We did do a wage study, and again, the wage study is comparable, but we're still here, and here we sit. So every now and then you have to be unique and you have to be special. I'm not afraid of that.
Did you guys get a copy of the wage study at all, or would you like a copy of that?
I guess I'm not even worried about the wage study. Here's my point. We lost an officer for $6,000. It's gonna cost us over how much money to hire someone, and we're now in a spread of how long until we can get a new person in. Plus, you have all of the training, you have all of the other paperwork behind the scenes, and there was nothing done. You guys knew he was leaving, you knew if you would give him a raise, you could keep him, and it didn't happen. So I guess that's
Now, he's
disappointing.
alone, so he has no backup, there's no, I mean, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so now it happens on a late night or something and someone needs help. We're short officers. We don't have the coverage. We cannot give our community the support that they expect.
Amy, I can answer what dispatch does in the middle of the night. They call Jason,
I know.
and he's burnt out, plain and simple. And I think as a council, we need to keep that into consideration too. We're only gonna burn him out.
So I guess I need to understand, I'm here, I've not wasted however much time, of my personal time, my work time, to
Your
come
ti-
here.
Your time is not wasted.
And-
This is what this
And
council
this is-
needed to hear.
Well, but I don't feel like we're making any decisions, and maybe this isn't the time or the place for it, but this is just boggles my mind that our elected officials, you guys can't work together and look plain and day at math to say, all right, this is what they need to stay, this is what it's gonna cost if he leaves, and he turns in his resignation, we didn't even try and keep him.
You know, that's not fair to say we're not working together, because we are working together. And
That's a huge
to
mistake.
diminish that wage study that's not right. We spent a lot of money for the wage study.
Exactly, that we could have given our
The wage study is
officers,
very important.
that we could
Yeah,
have
you're
given
gonna
our
spend-
officers.
Now you're gonna spend
Now we're-
$40,000.
Now we're spending a bunch of money right now, talking about this, and we're still now are short-staffed, and we're not doing anything about it, other than spending more money to try and get someone in the door.
I think people, or you have to realize it's that way across the board, everywhere. Burger King had to close up because nobody wants to work.
If you have
It's
good
across the board,
employees,
all over, I don't care where you go. And I know the wages for the sheriff's department, I know several of them.
great, but do you
And
have a
it's right in the
business?
ballpark.
Do you own a business?
I
Do you
grew up
own a
my whole
business?
business, my whole life has
Okay,
been
so when you
self-employed.
have a good employee, and you can pay them the money, you pay them to keep.
Nothing to argue about this.
I mean, there's business owners in here, Bricks, Rickachick Electric, you have good employees. Do you let them walk out?
No.
This is the safety of our town. This isn't Burger King.
I have to say, that's why we felt it really important and took it serious to have that wage study.
And
we
I
read through
appreciate
it.
that, but still, now $6,000, Nikki. You sell real estate in this town and around. How is it a sales pitch to sell when you have no officers?
I can't discuss my personal work.
That's not the question.
I'm sorry, I can't.
No, but I'm just saying, come on, you're a business person around here.
Yeah.
Then,
There was, the wage study came back and it showed that we were comparable and on target. Again, I will speak for myself, I'm not afraid to be unique. Great, the wage study gave us something to look at, but the reality is, I started this meeting off with talking about the intersection, the guests, the high traffic. I'm not afraid of being unique and paying more and retaining.
So I guess I'm
We
trying to figure out
couldn't, we
why
couldn't
everyone
come to
else-
that conclusion as a council.
yeah, and I'm saying that's disappointing.
So with that being said, I would like to move on for the sake of time. We've established second officer posting will happen. We have work to do with wages. This will have our discussion.
Do you want to set up a hiring committee then? And then do you want me to just, post it everywhere
Anywhere and everywhere. And who typically is on that committee?
As a
Obviously.
liaison, I would like to be on.
Okay.
Yeah, Pat is the
Pat,
liaison,
yeah.
Jason, me on another council.
I would like to be on it, I've always been on it, and Cody, I was on it, and
No offense, Mayor, but I would request that Councilmember Johnson is not. And I don't mean to offend you, Steve, but a lot of these questions, when we ask on the interview candidates, they're very specific to our job line. In the past, you've had difficulty. My question is, how do you grade somebody on their answer when you don't know what the answer is yourself?
who does?
I do.
Well, you're
A
a
lot of other people
officer.
do.
She doesn't any more than I do. Bruce doesn't know any more than I do. That's nonsense talk.
And honestly, again, I'm not here to try to hurt feelings, but since our discussion last summer, beginning with the pay raises and wages and trying to get an increase for the police department, you have voted against the police department on every issue since.
that is a bunch of bullshit and you know it.
I'm gonna ask us to remain civil at this meeting.
So, Jason, are you requesting that you pick the hiring committee for the new officer, or what are you asking?
I believe that, yes, the liaison should be there. Darcy needs to be there for HR, myself, and I would like to have another person come in from an outside agency.
Why do you feel I wouldn't be able to make that decision or help?
She don't know anything about it.
Our job is very complex, very delicate, and I wouldn't expect me to be on a hiring committee to hire a real estate agent and listen to the answers and know what they're supposed to be when I have no idea about real estate.
Okay.
You know, if you look at all the questions, it's common sense questions.
Then explain to me
Most
what the
of them are
difference
not
is between
specific to
reasonable
the police.
suspicion and probable cause.
I'm gonna caution that a hiring process is not public, it is private, and I wanna caution the council to not get in the weeds and get us in more trouble we don't need in a process that we need to enter. Darcy, how many people are needed as a minimum to be on the committee? Is there a set number? Okay. But at this point, I'm gonna recommend that we go with our liaison, chief, and who else was listed?
Me.
Yourself?
That's where we're at.
I'm gonna go with those three, and I believe chief asked for an outside agency representative, perhaps maybe one of our neighboring cities would be gracious enough to extend their time, or maybe the county. I wanna have a dignified process and have it be professional, and right now we've got some personal feelings, and there's no place for that as we interview moving forward. I also wanna caution the council that when you're attracting candidates, we gotta be a place people wanna land. So I'm gonna, as we enter into our squad car discussion, I wanna keep things factual, actual, and professional, and avoid personal.
I have to attend a county board meeting.
Thank you very much.
I hope it's dull.
Okay, so we're on the squad car. Can I ask a quick question to you, Jason?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you said approximately 97,000 in the budget, correct?
As of the first of the year, January 1, 24, would be approximately 97,500.
Okay, and
I did provide everyone with what currently is in the 401 fund.
Okay, so, but as of the first of the year, that's approximately that'll be the,
Correct.
okay. So my question is, it'll come out of, if we order it now, it'll come out of this budget, and that's approximately 83,000? Am I correct in
The
saying
squad
that?
car and equipment is approximately 83,000 in costs,
Okay,
which won't be paid out until after the first of the year because the squad car and equipment won't be coming in until that time.
that was my question. Okay. So we're left with approximately 14,000 in that 401 fund. Do you feel that is a sufficient amount of funds for anything else that you may need to fix or order, or do you feel like that's?
Yes, yeah. Even if we had a computer issue and a computer went down, we had to buy a new one, a couple of $1,000s, we've got more than enough in there to cover that kind of an expense.
Okay, thank you. I will jump right into my opinion and not horse around here. I'm not opposed to a new squad car. If Jason feels that's going to better serve the community and it is needed and it's in the budget, I think that's Jason's decision and I trust his decision. I'm just wondering is there anything, would we be able to sell the squad car that we have now and replenish some of the money in the fund, or is there anything that could possibly save the community money doing this?
So this squad car that I asked for permission to purchase, which was granted a few months ago, is in addition to our current squad car. So we'd have two squad cars, one for each officer, basically to drive. That way, if one breaks down, is in the shop, gets involved in an accident, has to be repaired, we have the other one that we can both share yet. If we're out one squad car, if tomorrow something happens and our squad car goes down, we have absolutely nothing to provide our citizens with police services.
But we've been in that situation for how long? With one squad car?
Forever, as long as I've been here.
No.
If memory serves, in the last 6 weeks, you've spent time without a squad.
I have multiple days.
Due to an electrical gremlin.
It's no different than the fire department. They've got 9 trucks sitting in the hall, and there's a reason why they have 9 trucks. You only need 2 to run a fire department, a bumper truck and a tanker truck. Why do we have multiples of each? Because what happens if one goes down? What happens if one's involved in an accident? What if we have a larger fire? What if we have more than one fire at one time? That's why in public safety, we have to think of the what ifs. We have to provide community service and public service to our community and our residents based on what ifs.
I agree, and I feel like we also have to justify the cost to the public, the extra stuff, and maybe break down the insurance, the maintenance. What else do you guys have? Probably internet capability. I'm sure all this is going to add up.
Well, the insurance wasn't presented at that council.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
did get that.
I just think we're gonna hire a second officer, retain our second officer, we have 2 squads. 2 officers, 2 squads, we can do the job, we're able to answer the calls. I also think it's an attractant for our posting. We will provide you with all the equipment that is needed and necessary for the job that we're asking you to do.
Where would both squad cars be so if you have the new Tahoe and the second officer has the current one, are they parked inside during non-working hours?
Yes.
or-
Yeah, just like currently, they're parked in City Hall garage here on our off-duty hours.
And this squad's about 85,000.
Correct.
That's fully equipped. That's
Correct.
everything that has to be put on.
Fully outfitted, yes.
Now, discussion, because it's discussion, we've already voted 2 meetings ago to purchase the squad, correct? There's no vote
Correct.
needed. It just was more discussion needed based on 2 officers, 1 or 2 squads didn't get the grant.
No, and I appreciate that, and that's why I wanted this meeting, is because discussion is important to me, because the community has hired us to make